Well, hello and good afternoon. We think that these rocket attacks are completely unacceptable, and there has to be the full enforcement of the law and accountability for these crimes. We strongly support the efforts of the government in Erbil and the government in Baghdad to find these criminals and to hold them to hold them to account. There can be no justification whatsoever for these attacks. Well, the UK obviously is a member of the security is a permanent member of the Security Council, and Iraq is a major priority for the UK, as is the Kurdistan region of Iraq. We continue to work very closely with our friends in Erbil and our friends in Baghdad to make sure that there's security and stability in Iraq, and we are determined to support the rights of all Iraqis, including Iraqis in the Kurdistan region, to have peace and security. I'm delighted with the relationship that we have with the KRG and with Baghdad, and we will continue to play a supportive role. Well, I think it's very important that we learn the lessons from the war against Daesh. And in particular, for me, it's very important that there should be a continuation of international support to the Iraqi armed forces and to the Peshmerga forces to ensure that they continue to become stronger and that they don't allow any space for Daesh or for other extremist groups to return. So I'm delighted that the international coalition continues to provide support to the Iraqi armed forces and to the Peshmerga. And I'm also pleased that NATO will play a bigger role in Iraq and also in the Kurdistan region of Iraq in the future. So that's one way, I think, by making sure we have that international support, we will make sure that Daesh and other terrorist groups like them will never return again in the future. Well, we believe that implementing Article 140 is extremely important. I think the best way to make progress on Article 140 and on related issues is for there to be dialogue between Erbil and Baghdad. I'm pleased that there is a good and productive relationship at the moment between the Kurdistan regional government and the government of Mustafa al-Kadhimi, and we continue to encourage both governments to work together in harmony to resolve those problems. I mean, for example, I'm very encouraged by the agreement on Sinjar a few months ago, but now it's really important that that Sinjar agreement is implemented and that all sides fulfill their responsibility and withdraw from the town of Sinjar, and also that there is flexibility on all sides with regard to the political aspects of the agreement. But the best way to solve those issues, I think, is through dialogue between Baghdad and Erbil, with support and encouragement and technical assistance from the UK, from the Security Council, and of course also from the United Nations. Well, I can tell you that the main losers will be the inhabitants of Sinjar, including many thousands of Yazidis who are still in displacement camps in the KRG and elsewhere. So it's vitally important that we implement that agreement. I think it's also important, frankly, that we have proper security in Sinjar and proper services. And for that reason, we need to see the withdrawal of armed groups, and we would like to see the Iraqi armed forces playing their proper role, providing security in and around Sinjar. I very much value and welcome the role that the Kurdistan regional government have played in helping sign this agreement and the role they're playing in implementing it. But it's vital that all sides now fulfill their commitments under that agreement. Yes, I'm very proud of the support that Britain has given to the Peshmerga forces, both bilaterally and through the global coalition to fight Daesh. I'm confident that that support will continue. At the same time, we want to support efforts to reform the Peshmerga and to strengthen the Peshmerga and to unify them as well. So we're working very closely with the Ministry of Peshmerga Affairs and with the Reform Directorate to make sure that happens. If there is reform of the Peshmerga, I've no doubt there will be more support. And also, I've no doubt that the Peshmerga forces will be even more effective in providing security in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Well, I am very encouraged by the political commitment shown by the KRG towards implementing political and economic reform. I've spoken personally to Prime Minister Masroor Barzani about this matter. It's clear that he has a strong vision for political and economic reform in the Kurdistan region. Now, of course, there have been very difficult economic circumstances across the whole of Iraq and, frankly, across the whole world in the last year due to COVID and due to the fall in oil prices, which I know has hit the Kurdistan region particularly hard. I mean, first of all, I want to help support a fair deal between Baghdad and Erbil when it comes to financial transfers from Baghdad. But second, I think the Prime Minister and his government are absolutely right to prioritise growth of the private sector in the Kurdistan region, because Iraq as a whole is extremely fortunate and lucky to have such excellent oil reserves. But over the long term, depending so much on oil won't provide the jobs, it won't provide the type of dynamic economy that I know so many people would like to build. So I think encouragement for the private sector, improving the business environment and improving the investment environment really need to continue to be priorities, not just in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, but also across the whole of Iraq. Well, there are many companies present in Kurdistan region of Iraq and across Iraq, and I am constantly working to help and encourage British businesses come to Iraq and the Kurdistan region of Iraq. I think there are two main obstacles when it comes to investment. The first is around security, and many British companies do fear or have concerns about the security situation in Iraq. And the second is around bureaucracy and corruption. So I think, tackling bureaucracy, improving the business environment, and fighting corruption has to continue to be a priority in Iraq. However, look, I'm an optimist when it comes to British investment in Iraq. I know that there are many opportunities here, both in the energy sector and the infrastructure sector, in the tourism sector, and I'm confident that, particularly given the relatively high levels of stability and security and the stronger business environment in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, I'm confident that we will see an increase in British investment and trade in the near future. Well, you're right that the UK has had some notable success with both our scientific research and also the provision of the vaccine to our citizens. I think we've now administered over 20 million vaccines to British people. But we're also working hard, and we're determined to make sure that the rest of the world benefits from vaccines. And we're very conscious of our historic and